Long ago, in the golden age of kings and kingdoms, when wisdom sat on thrones, and pride walked beside power, there lived a mighty ruler, known not for his wars, but for his endless thirst for knowledge. Yet even kings must learn that a heart filled with pride can never hold wisdom. The King and the Empty Cup. Scene 1. The Proud King. In the vast land of Aryamper, King Varun Dev ruled with grandeur. His palace glittered like the morning sun. His armies stretched farther than his sight. Poets sang his name, scholars bowed to his mind. And yet the king's heart whispered, "I know more than all." One day, while addressing his court, he declared proudly, "Is there any man in this land who can teach me something I do not know?" The court fell silent. Ministers looked down, afraid to speak, until an old sage, frail but glowing with peace, stepped forward and said, "Your Majesty, you have conquered kingdoms, but not yourself." The king's eyes narrowed. "And who are you, old man, to teach me?" The sage smiled and replied softly, "I am no one, your Majesty. But truth does not need a crown." Scene 2. The journey to the sage's hut. The next morning, driven by pride and curiosity, King Varun rode to the sage's hut beyond the river. He found it simple, a roof of leaves, walls of mud, and the old sage sitting by a clay pot of water. The king dismounted and said, "Old man, I have come to learn what you claim to know." The sage bowed. "Then let us begin with tea, my king." He poured tea into a small clay cup. The cup filled quickly, but the sage kept pouring, until hot tea spilled over, burning the king's hands. "Stop, foolish man," cried the king. "Can't you see the cup is full?" The sage looked up calmly and said, "Yes, my king. And so is your mind." Scene 3. The lesson of the empty cup. The sage continued, "Just as this cup cannot hold more tea, a mind full of pride cannot hold wisdom." The king stared in silence. No one had ever dared speak to him so boldly. Yet, those words struck his heart like lightning. "Then what must I do, sage?" he asked softly. The sage smiled. "Empty your cup. Empty your pride. Come as a student, not as a king." The proud ruler sat on the bare floor. He placed his golden crown beside him. And for the first time, he listened, not to respond, but to understand. Days turned into weeks. The king learned the language of silence, the wisdom of patience, and the beauty of humility. Scene 4. The return to the palace. When King Varun returned to his palace, the people noticed something different. The proud fire in his eyes was gone, replaced by calm like a still lake. He greeted even the poorest with respect. He listened more, spoke less, and judged only after understanding. When his ministers asked, "Your Majesty, what changed you so deeply?" he smiled and said, "A cup of tea." Laughter spread through the court. But the king raised his hand and continued, "When the cup of pride overflowed, wisdom spilled away. Only when I emptied it could truth pour in." Scene 5. The kingdom transformed. Under King Varun's rule, Aryamper flourished. He opened schools for the poor, temples of learning for all. He listened to his people's problems, and solved them with compassion, not command. The old sage returned one last time to the palace. The king bowed before him and said, "Master, I am forever your student." The sage smiled. "And that, my king, is why you are truly great." The sage departed, but his words remained carved in the hearts of all. That a humble heart builds a stronger kingdom than a mighty sword. The ending. Poetic moral. So remember, dear listener, when pride fills your heart like overflowing tea, pause and empty your cup. For wisdom flows not to the loud or the proud, but to the calm, the kind, and the humble. Even a king, in his shining crown, is but a student before truth. And the greatest power a ruler can wield is the power to learn. So, the moral of the story: humility is the highest wisdom. A heart that listens learns forever.
Alrighty, my magical beans, it's time to go, but before I vanish in a sparkly poof, hit that like button like you're high-fiving the moon, subscribe so we dance again soon.